Alright guys, let's go. This is DM and we are back with now episode 3 of Steve Jack's Sorcery, part 1. Uh, in the last episode we had a little bit of trouble. We died. We got, we fell into, well, so we avoided a pit trap, but jumped forward into a spring trap because they double trapped us and we basically got, spikes in the face. It didn't end well, but the game has a feature where you rewind back to whatever point you want and kind of try over again. We wound up getting captured because I didn't go too far back. I didn't want to basically go and like rewrite all of history. I just went back to basically the choices that instead of jumping into the spikes, we stepped back and then we wound up in the pit and then we wound up getting captured and they were I presumably going to cook us and eat us, but we managed to escape. We made it to Kristani, which is the first spot. Unfortunately, I never saw an option to buy rations, which kind of sucks, so we still don't have rations, but we're now past Kristani and about to head into the wood. We read this on the end of the last episode, but I'll reread it just to catch us back up. One thing I have noticed this game is a lot of narration, at least for me. I could just say, here, you guys read it, but I think that would be kind of boring for you. So I have been trying to narrate. Hopefully I am not too incoherent, or just, hopefully you guys can understand me is where I'm going. And this reads, you are more than content to leave these villagers behind. The backlands are filled with vermin, and this village marks the start of it. For a short while, the sun is feverish, but then you are between the trees once more, and everything becomes cool and still. You walk for several hours uneventfully. This is land that was never settled or explored, and very few travel this way. In places, bushes and shrubs have grown over into the path. So I didn't want to hack my way through because I figured that would take stamina, and that stamina controls how well you can fight, or how stamina is kind of like your health, as well as your energy to do things in the game. So I didn't want to do anything that's going to compromise that because we've got a long way to go to get to the next thing, which Lord only knows what's going to happen there. And so I'm trying to be cautious, trying to be conservative. You pick your way carefully forward, moving slowly but silently between the trees. If there are any beasts nearby, you should be able to wring their necks without them hearing you approach. That got dark and very serious. Then you come to a fork in the road, still deep in the forest. And now we move. Someone has thought to make a sign, perhaps as a guide or perhaps as a warning. The way to the right is marked for Dumpus. Dumpus. A left turn points to Aliana. Neither way seems the better trod. You will have to choose. Aliana sounds like a name. So I'm gonna go check out who Aliana is. The path winds between trees and gets greener and more lush. You must be closer to the river here, although you cannot hear the water. After about half an hour's walk through the dappled shade, you come across a well-built hut. Flowers decorate its walls, and the door has been painted with ornate designs. The path ends here. Just got around it. You never just go walking them. That's how you get shanked in the face with spikes. You perform a swift circuit around the hut, but find nothing unusual or concerning. It seems to be what it is, a hut, set by itself deep in the forest. But for someone to survive out here on their own, surrounded by the beasts of the jungle, they must be someone quite powerful. You approach the door and knock. There is no reply. We've come this far. You push open the door and stride inside. The hut is neatly laid out. You detect the touch of a fastidious? I don't know what that word means either. Woman. Chairs are set around a table as if for guests. A mattress lies in one corner and a large kitchen area indicates that whoever lives here, they are fond of cooking. I'm not gonna take stuff. Hello? Is anybody here? Is there anybody here? To your surprise, a voice answers quickly. Who's there? Who's that? Looking into a corner hidden by a large cupboard, you see a cage in which a young woman is imprisoned. Good stranger, she pleads, let me out of this cage, I beg you. You move over to the cage. What happened to you? Oh, good stranger, she wails, I have been locked. I've been picked? I've been locked up here for 2 days. It was Elvins that did it. Those mischievous Mischievous, prankful elvins, please you must help me. I have not eaten and they left me here, where I can see all my cooking things, but cannot reach them. You have two options to be a dick and then the right thing to do. Unless you're being tricked. I'll help you. Going over to the cage, you try the door. It is locked, of course. You should be grateful I waste my strength on you, you declare as you roll up your sleeves. Even when doing the right things, you're an asshole. I love this part. Except now I have to remember how to do it. Yeah. The first spell that's freaking worked. The first time the smoke didn't really do anything. The second time my hands were tied up, so the fireball didn't work. I finally unlocked the damn thing. You cast a spell over the lock and it begins to shiver. Like a small beetle, it hums and clicks as the tumblers turn and work. Then finally it snaps open and drops to the floor. The woman claps her hands in delight, and with the door open, she rushes out and throws her arms around you, before backing off a pace and trying to regain her composure. Stranger, she declares, I am in your debt. Aliana will reward you. Will you take an aid in combat or mastery of magic? I need no reward beyond. Guess. I like the magic. Magic. Very well. She rushes over quickly to a wall and opens a panel you had not seen before, and takes out a small box which she places in your hands with a smile. No tricks, she says with a smile. All these things will aid you if you know how they are meant to be used. I see you are honest, you reply, replacing the box on a surface. But I will not take from you. You are too generous, she replies with a grateful nod. The lady has been freed. It seems like there is nothing much more to keep you here and from your quest. Yeah, why not? Perhaps before I go, you begin, I may eat with you if you can feed me. I have not had anything yet today. I have nothing, she replies, with a sad shrug. The elven who locked me up took everything. You nod curtly. Then I will be gone. She nods, of course. Please, before you go. She holds something out. It is a small bag of coins. Since I accidentally clicked on the freaking turn the magic thing back. You bow your head and accept the gift. There are 7 gold pieces inside. And one more thing, she says. Moving around the table, she leans up to you and pecks you on the cheek, whispering, I am Aliana the Witch, and I have killed a good many men with my sorcery. But I choose not to kill you today. Go in peace. That fucking escalated. Then she steps back, and her face is as soft and peaceful as it ever was. Did you imagine her words? Almost certainly not. Time then to leave. You step quickly outside. You retrace your steps to the last junction, where you turn and take the path toward Dumfus. Fucking escalated. You walk for several hours, following the twists and turns of the path through the trees, and then suddenly you stop. You have heard a noise up ahead. Something is moving around between the rocks at the edge of the path. Boom! You draw your sword and you are glad to do so because a moment later you are attacked. In a flurry of foliage and dirt, a Ratbear leaps from the undergrowth. It is much closer than you thought. Its sleek black fur allows it to hide in the shadows until it is almost upon you. You bring up your sword to bear. I don't know what this thing can do. You can do shit with that. The Ratbear is startled by your approach, but drops quickly to all fours. You drop quickly behind a tree and raise your sword, ready to defend yourself. At the last moment, the Ratbear leaps, all claws off the ground and ready to plunge into your body. You brace as it comes down. For a moment, it is close enough for you to smell its sewer breath. It rears back, claws raised. You risk an attack. Standing firm, you swing a mighty blow at the Ratbear, but it has read your intention and drops into a crouch. It grunts as it pushes you away. It stumbles back, tail whipped high in defiance. Now it's just going to keep defending. Dropping your weight, you chop a mighty stroke against the Ratbear, but it knocks you aside with a paw. You can almost smell the creature growing in rage and duck quickly behind a tree. Squeaking with rage, the rat bear charges forward, but you keep yourself guarded. It edges back, claws raised. Oh, God. You risk an attack. Okay, it's the same thing from before. Warily, you move into a defensive crouch. The rat bear sniffs around you. It squeaks and snuffles, standing up onto its hind legs. Okay, it's going in a pattern. You remain hidden. The rat bear launches its front claws aimed at your eyes, but you knock it away. Its attack away. You silently thank your master who trained you so well in swordplay. You test the creature. Sidestepping, you slash out at the rat bear, but it bats you back into the mud with its tail. It growls and grunts, rearing up, showing its full weight. I'm so sorry, guys. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. The rat bear charges and leaps, and it is on you, teeth and slashing claws and lashing tail. Your own attack is forgotten as you try to regain your balance. The vicious creature has wounded you, and worse, it knows it. It drops all fours and lowers its head. Shit. Warily, you move into a defensive crouch. The rat bear stays low and tries to ram you. You find yourself gasping for breath. The foul smell coming off the beast is the stench of the grave. It stumbles back, claws raised. Shit. I should have attacked that time. You stay low. The rat bear paces the clearing. It beats the air with its tail. There we go. You edge left around the rat bear, keeping your guard up. It makes a nasty swipe with its claws, but you duck and escape injury. You swing your arm and refresh your stance. It edges back, tail whipped high in defiance. Let's try to ball out. You risk an attack. Alright. Basically, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Okay, we've seen that before. Okay, should have tried to get in, because I could have gotten some good damage. Okay. Now let's try to charge it. Oh, no. Did I get it? Finally. Whew. 11 stamina loss. Shameful. Shameful. You risk an attack. You charge into the rat bear, then your sword slips between the creature's ribs and drives deep into its putrid heart. The rat bear squeals and falls to the ground, face down in the mud. Gotta live with our choices. With the beast dead on the path, you are free to move onwards. The path winds a few more times around gigantic trees, thousands of years old, and then merges onto a sudden plain, as if the forest had been scooped away by a gigantic hand. The river trickles thinly between short grasses, and by its bank stands a tiny village. Sorry, I'm obviously getting tired, guys. Today has been punishing, but with a decent meal and a night's sleep, your next day will start auspiciously. So you begin the gentle climb down into the village. You follow the path down into the village, passing a sign which declares it to be Dumfus. The streets are thin and narrow, and the buildings have been set close together, as if trying to withstand a storm. There's a terrible smell hanging in the air. All in all, it seems an unpleasant place. But nothing changes the fact that you desperately need shelter and to rest. Your day has been punishing, and you're almost too weak to stand. Alright. Halfway along the track, you come across a couple of merchants' huts. You browse for items worth buying with your 18 gold pieces. Your attention is taken by a finely woven skull cap, a finely crafted sword, and a small bag of provisions. You examine the bag of food. There is about enough to last 3 days. 6 gold pieces, the merchant says with a smile. Good for a traveler, I'm sure. It's about what I paid for. You pay him 6 gold pieces and add the provisions to your pack, all except for one ration which you eat immediately to fill your starving belly. Carefully, you lift the longsword from the table and swing it from the air. It cuts with a finely carved edge. A fine piece of work, I'm sure you agree. The merchant enthused. 6 gold pieces. Put it back. You pick up the skull cap and turn it over. Stolen from a priest of Dadalay. The merchant declares with pride. A fine piece of work. 4 gold pieces. It looks like an object of magical properties, although what they might be is unclear. You place it on your head, but you feel nothing. You take it off again. Running low on gold. You shake your head and place the skull cap back on the merchant's table. That's enough. You nod to the merchant. Is there anything else I can help you with? I can find it myself. Nothing. The merchant nods and bids you farewell. You pass along the main path through the village and pause outside a hut in which several of the hill dwellers are sitting and eating. They seem deep in discussion about something. Several are shaking their fists in the air. Lifting back the canvas flap, you step inside. The hill dwellers stop talking immediately and look up at you. One gets to his feet and gestures you forward. You step forward. Then one of the others calls something in their native tongue and points at your side to where your sword hangs out below the hem of your cloak. In broken common tongue, the first man croaks, "No weapons," and he indicates a table by the door where you can leave the blade. Okay, there are plenty of other weapons there, so the men appear honest enough. You unfasten your sword belt and leave your weapon on the table. The hill dwellers nod to show their appreciation and then beckon you to sit with them. Then they continue their conversation just as animatedly as before, speaking in a local tongue that you cannot follow. But as they talk, they pour you a drink and provide you with food. They seem quite welcoming. After you finish eating, you catch the eye of one of the older men and ask slowly in the common tongue, "What is you crazy old fools are arguing about?" The man nods back to you. "Krishani arming the goblins." "What are the goblins doing? Are they being armed by villagers?" The men shake their head. Slowly you piece together the story. The group seem quite sure that a horde of goblins are planning an attack on Krishani, which apparently is one of the wealthier spots in the village, in the hills. They're discussing whether or not it would be worth helping the village to defend itself, which might mean they are offered some kind of reward. "You must help them," you declare earnestly. "Krishani, it does not help us," one of the men points out. "They are rich, we are poor." "You will place them in your debt." The men nod, swayed by your ruthless logic. "And you? How do you fight?" "How do I fight? With a sword. You saw me put it down, you dumbass." One man asks you. I will help. I will help those that need it." The men nod. "Let the goblins attack tonight," they cheer. "We will use your strength." The evening draws to a close. The men thank you for your counsel and leave, one by one. Alright, let's go find a place to sleep. You find it in the very center of Dumvis. It is a tumble-down building with mats spread across the floor and a kitchen range that fills the air with an appealing spicy smell. The man who runs the inn is wiry and looks as if he does not eat a thing himself. 3 gold pieces for hill fox broth, he tells you, and 3 for a place to rest your head. You've eaten today already, so you are not hungry. You pay the 3 gold pieces, and the man shows you to a mattress in one corner of the room. For a while you stay awake, wondering if the goblin attack the villagers feared will come. But it seems the land is quiet tonight, and eventually you drift off to sleep. Like always, you dream strange dreams as you sleep. Your thoughts are dominated by the strange woman in the hut. In your mind she has become younger and more beautiful than she truly was. Flowers seem to blossom from her hair as though she has grown from the earth herself. Overhead, you fancy you hear the flap of giant wings. The birdmen came for the crown. Perhaps before this journey is finished, they will come for you. You rise early, dismiss the attentions of the innkeeper, and head out into the street. Within a few minutes of walking, you are out of Dumfries and back on the road. After another hour or so, the way branches, with one path heading up into the hills, and the other turning downhill and along one side of a barren stony ridge. Is that a village you can make out on top of the hill? It seems a lonely place for it. But for right now, we're gonna call an end to this somewhat shorter episode. But again, we got through another village. We met a witch. Who knew? The fact that we started dreaming about her, and the fact that she was all like, "Yeah, I'm a witch and I kill people," it's not good tidings. It's not a good way to start the day, if you know what I'm talking about. But again, I am really enjoying this series still. I'm happy we didn't die in this one. That's great. Not dying. What did we only died in the first one, right? And then we got no, because we got through the first village and then we got killed, captured, and got to the second village, and now we're in the third village, right? Whatever. Anyway, if you guys are still enjoying this episode, that's the important part. Do leave me that like, comment, and subscription. Really does help me out. Um, keep in mind, there are other games on the channel every day. I play a different game every day of the week. You can still follow me on Twitter at dim_cross. I will put a link to my profile in the description below. Until next time, guys, that's all I got for y'all. Peace. Love y'all.